Greetings, my incredible friends. Today's tale isn't just a biography, it's a voyage through time, a saga of strength, vision, and fate. This is the story of one of history's mightiest warriors, rulers, and visionaries. Have you ever heard of a man who dominated nearly the entire known world before turning 30? A leader who never tasted defeat in battle, whose name resonates across centuries, over 2,000 years later? A figure who fought with the ferocity of a lion, governed like a deity, and inspired countless souls long after his passing? Today, we're diving into the life of Alexander the Great. This isn't merely a tale, it's an adventure, a masterclass in bravery, wisdom, and leadership. His life brimmed with thrilling quests, perilous moments, romance, warfare, and triumphs. As we journey through his story, your English will sharpen, your inspiration will soar, and you'll feel the pulse of history like never before. So, settle in, listen closely, and prepare to witness the rise of a legend. A prophecy of greatness. Alexander came into the world in 356 BC in Pella, the heart of Macedonia, now part of modern Greece. His birth wasn't ordinary, it was steeped in mystery, myths, and omens. His father, King Philip II, was a bold and determined leader who turned Macedonia from a frail kingdom into a formidable military power. Philip didn't just want a son, he sought an heir, a ruler destined to command the world. Legends swirled that Alexander's mother, Olympias, had divine ties. She was convinced her son was born for extraordinary things. The night before his birth, strange signs appeared. Olympias dreamt a lightning bolt struck her womb, igniting it with flames. Many interpreted this as a sign her child would wield godlike power. Philip envisioned sealing his wife's womb with a lion's emblem. Priests proclaimed, "Your son will be as bold as a lion and will conquer the world." When Alexander was born, the temple of Artemis, goddess of war and the hunt, burned to the ground in Ephesus. Many saw this as a signal that a mighty force had arrived. Whispers spread, "This boy isn't just a prince, he's a warrior chosen by the heavens. A youth forged for glory." From his earliest steps, Alexander was groomed for greatness. While other children played with toys, he wielded swords and shields. His mother reminded him daily, "You're not like others. You're destined to rule." Philip wanted his son to be not only a fierce warrior but also the wisest mind of his era. He hired the finest tutors for him. The defining moment of Alexander's youth came when he studied under Aristotle, the greatest scholar of all time, a philosopher, scientist, and one of history's brightest minds. For 3 years, Aristotle taught Alexander science, philosophy, governance, literature, and the strategies of war. He introduced him to epic heroes like Achilles from the Trojan War. Alexander became captivated by Achilles, carrying Homer's Iliad everywhere. Aristotle also instilled in him the power of ambition. He said, "A true king doesn't just govern land, he wins hearts. A true leader doesn't just fight, he shapes a new world." These words carved Alexander's path. He didn't want to be just a king, he aimed to be a god among mortals. Taming the untamed. One legendary tale from Alexander's youth involves Bucephalus, a wild stallion. A merchant brought a massive black horse to Philip. It was powerful but uncontrollable, no one could ride it. It reared, bellowed, and threw off every rider. Philip was ready to dismiss it, but 12-year-old Alexander stepped forward. "Let me try," he declared. The crowd snickered. How could a boy tame such a beast? But Alexander saw what others missed, the horse feared its own shadow. He approached calmly, turned the horse toward the sun to hide its shadow, and soothed it gently. Then, he leaped onto its back and rode it like a seasoned warrior. Silence fell over the crowd. Philip, stunned, rushed to his son, embraced him, and said, "My son, Macedonia is too small for your destiny. Seek a kingdom worthy of your greatness." This moment showed Alexander wasn't just a prince, he was a leader, a warrior, and a legend in the making. Ascending to power. By 16, Alexander was no longer just a student, he was a commander in his father's army. Philip faced many foes and needed a strong military. He entrusted Alexander to lead troops into battle, and Alexander never faltered. He led with intellect, courage, and cunning. While other commanders relied on raw strength, Alexander used strategy, analyzing enemies, predicting their moves, and striking with precision. Soldiers adored him, seeing him not just as a prince but as a leader who guaranteed victory. Then, tragedy struck. At 20, Philip was murdered. The killer's identity was unclear, though some pointed to Olympias, eager for her son to claim the throne. Overnight, Alexander became king of Macedonia. He faced a choice: rule a small kingdom or lead his army to conquer the world. He chose the world. Quelling rebellion. Philip's death sparked chaos. Many powerful figures doubted Alexander's ability to rule due to his youth. Nobles, generals, and neighboring kingdoms saw a chance to challenge Macedonia. They underestimated him. Alexander moved swiftly. He proclaimed himself king and vowed to crush rebellion. When some nobles and generals refused to bow to him, he tracked them down and executed them, even those loyal to his father. Betrayal was unforgivable. The greatest threat came from Thebes, a mighty Greek city. After Philip's death, Thebes rallied a massive army and declared war, believing Alexander was weak. They were mistaken. Alexander marched to their gates. When Thebes mocked his forces, he struck like a thunderbolt. With brilliant tactics and unrelenting force, his army shattered the city's defenses. In hours, Thebes was in flames. Alexander ordered, "Raze it all." His troops killed thousands, burned homes, and erased the city. The warning was clear: defy me, and you'll vanish from history. After Thebes' fall, Athens, Sparta, and other Greek cities surrendered. Alexander wasn't just a king, he was a force of nature. Conquering Persia. With Greece secured, Alexander set his sights on his ultimate prize, the world. His first target was Persia, the mightiest empire, ruling vast swathes of Asia, Egypt, and Europe. Its king, Darius III, commanded millions with an army no one dared face. But Alexander was fearless. He assembled 35,000 men and prepared for war. Before departing, he stunned everyone by burning his own ships. His soldiers asked, "Why destroy our way home?" Alexander replied, "We either conquer Persia and return as kings or perish here." Retreat was not an option. At the Granicus River, 40,000 Persian troops awaited. His generals advised caution, but Alexander scoffed, "I don't wait, I triumph." He led his army across the river, charging at full speed. The Persians were caught off guard. The battle was fierce, but Alexander fought like a whirlwind. His horse, Bucephalus, carried him through enemy lines. By the end, Persia lost 10,000 men, Alexander lost fewer than 400. It was a resounding victory. March through Persia. City after city fell as Alexander swept through Persia like a wildfire. News of his triumphs reached Darius III, who was enraged. He mustered over 250,000 soldiers, the largest army Persia had ever assembled. But Alexander remained undaunted. After Gaugamela, Alexander stood at the height of his power. But greatness bred enemies, not just in battle but within his ranks. Alexander adopted Persian traditions, wearing royal garments, following court customs, and marrying a Persian princess, Roxana, to bridge east and west. His Greek soldiers despised this, feeling betrayed. One of his dearest allies, Clytus the Black, confronted him, saying, "You've lost your roots. You're Macedonian, not Persian." In a drunken fury, Alexander killed Clytus with a spear. Regret consumed him, but the act revealed how power had transformed him. Suspicion grew. When a plot to kill him was uncovered, Alexander suspected Philotas, son of his trusted general Parmenion. He ordered Philotas tortured and executed. Fearing Parmenion's retaliation, Alexander had him killed too. This stunned the army. Parmenion had been like a father to him. The Indian campaign. Still unsatisfied, Alexander set his sights on India in 326 BC. At the Battle of Hydaspes River, he faced King Porus, whose army rode war elephants. Alexander used speed and cunning to outwit them. After a grueling battle, he emerged victorious. Impressed by Porus' courage, Alexander spared him and made him an ally. But his army refused to march further. Exhausted after traveling 17,000 miles and fighting endless battles, they longed for home. Alexander tried to rally them, but for the first time, his words fell flat. Reluctantly, he turned back, his only defeat, not by an enemy but by his own men. The final chapter. On the return to Babylon, Alexander's army endured Persia's brutal deserts. Thousands perished from thirst and hunger. In 323 BC, at 32, Alexander fell ill in Babylon. For days, he lay voiceless in bed. His generals asked, "Who will succeed you?" Legend says he murmured, "To the strongest." On June 10, 323 BC, Alexander passed away. His death shook the world, leaving chaos. His generals, the Diadochi, battled for control, splitting the empire into 4 realms. Though his dream of a unified empire faded, his legacy endured. Alexander's lasting impact. Alexander's vision sparked the Hellenistic era, merging Greek and local cultures. His achievements include Greek language. Greek became the universal language of trade, governance, and learning, even used in the New Testament. Alexandria, his Egyptian city, became a hub of knowledge with the renowned Library of Alexandria. Science and mathematics, his empire linked East and West, fostering discoveries by thinkers like Archimedes. Greek art and architecture, Greek-style temples and statues spread globally, influencing even Buddhist art. Leaders like Julius Caesar and Napoleon studied Alexander's strategies. His tactics remain part of military curricula at places like West Point and Sandhurst. Hero or tyrant? Alexander was a hero for his unbeaten record, spreading Greek culture and showing mercy to brave foes like Porus. But he was a villain for slaughtering thousands, killing allies, and succumbing to paranoia. Hero or tyrant? That depends on your perspective, but his influence is unparalleled. The mystery of his death. Alexander's death remains an enigma. Theories include natural illness, typhoid fever or malaria, causing fever and agony. Poisoning, some suspect his generals poisoned him, fearing his growing power. Autoimmune disease, modern experts propose Guillain-Barré syndrome, which paralyzed him. The truth remains unknown, but his legend endures. Lessons from Alexander. Alexander's story imparts timeless lessons. Dream boldly, a boy from a small kingdom believed he could conquer the world. Persevere, he faced impossible odds but always found a way to prevail. Embrace diversity, he valued different cultures and learned from them. Power demands care, his downfall came when power consumed him. Over 2,300 years later, Alexander's cities like Alexandria and Kandahar stand. His strategies are studied, and his influence shapes our world. Many conquerors followed, but none rivaled his legacy. That's why he's Alexander the Great. His story is about ambition, leadership, and the power of dreams. If a boy from Macedonia could conquer the world, you too can achieve greatness. Dare to dream, fight for your goals, and never surrender. History remembers those who dare to be extraordinary.